know that he
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I needed an example.
Yeah, throw out
to link it
1,000
to.
points so that they can't all be rebutted and checked in a coherent
And
answer.
Yeah.
abandon factual statements and reasoning, and just throw out as many as you can, so they can't like knock
Be
down as
addressed.
many as you put up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't rebute it all.
It is possible to say so very many incorrect things in a couple of sentences that then would need each their own sentence to be corrected.
All right.
Yeah, and I've tried like telling people like there's a difference between the two types of fallacies. There's an argumentative fallacy, and then there's logical fallacies that contain errors in lines of reasoning. So like one is just like it just pertains to the idea that you should argue one way because it's just to the best interest of everyone that's interlocuting. And then there's, obviously the kind of fallacy where, sometimes premises don't line. Your reasoning doesn't really necessarily lead to the conclusion, or you're just not really saying anything at all.
I'm unsure that you have been.
Yeah, I don't think I've been saying anything at all. I think
Also,
I'm-
the last
Public figures-
two sentences
Public
at
figures
least.
probably don't give a shit about depending on the circumstances, of
reasoning
course,
doesn't-
don't give a shit about like the amount of respect they give the other party if the other party is either immoral to them or they have a big platform and they need to get these messages out to people. Like, the important thing isn't respect there. The important thing is making good arguments that people can understand. That's the reason why you're publicly debating.
I would
Not-
disagree
not
that
good
the point is good
arguments.
arguments, but it is true that they are going to be arguments. They're going to have to be easily consumable. It's not that they have to be good or
Yeah, I said-
understandable. They
I
have to
said
be easily
both there.
absorbed. Yeah.
That's not again, I'm sort of bringing in my own like honor system for debates here. Even if it gets heated, even if your goal isn't to have a friendly conversation with the person, if there's a public audience, then your goal should probably be to not only make for me, like, if you're making arguments, that's not the only thing. Making arguments that are understandable, not the only thing. For me, there's like a almost responsibility to either believe the things you're saying or make good arguments for them at the very
Yeah,
least.
I agree with you.
But yeah, no, sometimes I'm a softie.
Yeah, so take for example, like, say you're in a debate with someone and you point out, well, we have this statistic and it shows this, blah, blah, blah. And then because your interlocutor isn't like actually participating in the debate, you call them a name, and then they're like, ad hominem. Your argument is self-destructed now. And you're just like, that doesn't actually like destruct my entire argument. I'm just
It doesn't
it's just-
invalidate your opinion.
it doesn't invalidate anything. It's
Dude.
just it's
I mean,
just
it's
not
it's an
preferred.
optics
My
game for
brother does
public
that.
figures. I mean, people
My
on
brother
here do
loves
that.
to
Like,
scream ad
people-
hominem.
people aren't making, for me, like, it happens all the time. People don't make good arguments, and then like they say like, you know what, you just don't understand. Like, I'm just like so smart. Or they say I've already won, and they keep claiming it without making an argument.
What are they? Are they 15? Who are these people?
I know they're varying ages. Politics servers are crazy.
Yeah. I hate
The
those
only
types of
ones I've
people,
seen
too.
that are worse are for, again, like, dating servers for different reasons, and the debate servers for power scaling. Those are actual hell.
Ugh.
What do you mean?
Power
Power
scaling,
scalers.
What do you mean dating
like
server?
Goku versus
Who
Superman.
gives a shit about who any is of those
You'd be
characters?
surprised how much math they do just to win an argument. So at least that's what
I
I'm
don't
getting
know
at.
that I would. I would be surprised that they do it, not that they like. I was worried that they care enough to do it, not that they can.
Okay.
Dude, I hate when people try and place the burden of proof on you instead of looking it up themselves. Like, we all have the internet, and we can't sit here and like keep going through sources forever. We're just not gonna get through the debate. Like, I hate that shit.
It's not like people give a shit, right? That's kind of
Right.
there's
No,
a
they
there's a
feign
point
to
where
find a
people are on
way.
the internet to talk instead of
pretend to give
doing
a
anything
shit.
else.
Yeah,
They
they're just
pretend
trying
give
to
a
find
shit.
a way to invalidate
the
your
worst.
argument
Like, if they
without
if you
actually
bring up
having to.
if you bring up things and they don't have an argument against it, they might just say, "Send me the source." And then when you do send them the source, they'll try to find anything they can to discredit it. I've done this so many times. I send people a source and they're like, "Oh, this is CNN. Oh, this is NASA. Oh, this is," and then I ask them, "Okay, what source can I send you so we could save all of us some time? What
Right.
source will you trust?" And they just don't answer for some reason.
My source is NASA. What are you debating?
Because they
Flat
don't
Earth?
have the source, man.
No, that particular debate was about them sending. It was like a moon landing debate.
I was gonna
It's
say
so
it sounded like
easy
a
to
flat Earth
find-
debate almost.
Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to try and find fault with someone else's argument without actually like
Making an
looking at your
argument.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
without
know.
actually making a counter argument at all.
I mean, that is the defensive position, though. People like that, especially again, back to flat earthers. They love asking you to disprove or prove the world is round instead of presenting their own model.
Here, I got a question
Right.
through just this last week on a flat Earth debate. The answer was fucking hilarious.
Is it on the stream?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah. It's weird that we
Cannibal,
still
make
have
sure-
people like that.
Make sure you
What?
eat him after you kill him.
okay. Why
What?
why is it weird that we still have people like that when there's like a bunch of people getting mobilized because they can't have sex? Like we have incels, we have like roid raging weirdos. We
Well,
have
sex is
so
a
many
sex is a more
crazy
primal
groups.
thing. Clearly, it's much a
Yes,
it's
but
much
it-
like
Alright,
bigger
yes,
and more
but these
human
people
in
get-
that sense than
these
saying
people
Earth
get
flat.
radicalized into either like racism or war prophet. Like they get radicalized very
Yeah, I
easily.
don't
Bigotry.
disagree. Yeah,
or hating women in
Yeah.
general.
All right.
there are people that are easy to manipulate. I'm sure.
When you get the chance,
Yeah, I'm saying-
highlight my
and they're not-
shared.
They're not the
screen.
only group. They're like there was a
They're
famous
the most
actress that
noticeable
sold
for sure.
there was a famous actress that sold millions of these like egg-shaped rocks that you put up your vagina.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with
What?
Gwyneth
Was it-
Paltrow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro,
Gwyneth
what?
Paltrow. Like,
That's
crazy
crazy.
people
Yeah, that
are
makes sense.
everywhere. None of this should surprise you.
Dude, the
Yeah, well, it
vagina
doesn't
handle was
anymore for that, yeah.
hilarious.
That's crazy.
All right.
Dude, Gwyneth Paltrow is just like an absolute nutcase. Love it.
What are you streaming?
Yes.
I guess the question
Oh,
is, would you?
I'm just
would
playing.
You would you?
Not
smash-
you, cannibal. I'm talking to the hard
Yeah. Well,
guy.
fuck you too.
You know, I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah, come get me.
Sure, you would love to.
All right. So the stream right here of the this flat Earth debate.
I appreciate Ryan.
Okay.
and-
Oh, I've seen this guy, the black dude. He's
How fast
stupid.
are they corkscrewing?
Not because he's black.
Is he-
Get
Wow.
that out of the way.
Is he a flat
That was a
earther?
horrible
He
way to
is.
lead with it.
Well, it's okay for me to do it, okay? I have the power.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Now is saying
I'm sure that makes it
everyone sort
okay.
of takes the form of a
It
constant.
unironically
It
does.
says azimuth grid.
Yeah, yeah. I don't make the rules, but I don't think you do
My
either.
answer to it was my
No,
answer
I don't
to
make the
it. I
rules,
said,
but
"Look,
identifying
you know,
him
the stars
from the
not
other
like
white
this
people in the room, I think that
So
was
I
fine.
defer to
I think
people that know
you're
what they're
trying to
talking
do the
about,
thing,
again,
but not doing
Yeah.
it well.
all these
Actually, I might be
things-
white
Use a
enough to be the one that
distinctive
makes the
feature to
rules.
separate
I have a
him.
hard time here.
What else would I say? The guy with a beard? No, they both have beards. The guy with glasses? No, they
Glasses?
both have glasses. Like, get out of here.
You're claiming that everybody in the southern hemisphere
Yeah.
is facing.
Okay, here we
The
go.
stupid guy with glasses.
All I
yes.
asked was
Which one?
explain the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere rotations of the
I'm looking at a
stars.
fan, right? And the fan is going this.
Oh, you had a
They will
super
never
chat.
have an answer for that.
You guys
Yeah,
need
yeah.
some help, man. Y'all need some help.
All right, right here.
Yeah, the opinions of delusional people don't generally concern me.
All right. Positively Diverse Podcast asks, flat. Answer to the star's rotation per the hemisphere.
Yeah, as I said earlier, there is no globe model. They made the globe model by looking at the ways the stars rotate and assuming that it was the Earth rotating and not what we observed, which is the stars. Like, think about it. We observe the stars moving. Our answer is not, oh, the stars are moving, right? That would be too logical. We have to say, no, it's an illusion and it's fake and dark matter and then this. Yeah, ridiculous, all right? So the stars are moving. Guess what? Because the stars are moving. I don't have to explain that. We all see that. That's what's going on. All right, I support the Earth that follows the laws of physics. All right.
I'd like to comment. The question you were asked that somebody paid good money to ask you was how do you explain the fact that northern hemisphere star rotation paths are in the opposite sense to southern hemisphere stellar rotation paths? Why do they go clockwise in one hemisphere and anti-clockwise in the other?
Okay, well, just so everybody knows, right, just based upon the laws of perspective, if I'm looking up at a fan, right, and the fan is going this way, when I turn around, it'll be going the other way. If I'm looking the other way,
No, it won't.
What is he talking about?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
If you look up at a fan and it's going one way and then you go above it, it'll go.
Isn't this just
it'll
a
look
repeat
like
of
it's
the
going in
Professor
the
Dave
opposite
clip
sense.
as well?
But if you look at a fan and it's going clockwise,
Yeah, it's like,
it
yeah,
doesn't matter
exactly.
where you
We,
stand under the
Professor Dave had
fan,
that talk
it'll
with
still be going clockwise.
And he used the same example
Witsit.
too. He used the fan. The other
Fundamental
dude.
property of the direction
What did the other guy
clockwise.
say?
That's why
A
we
clock.
use
Yeah.
clockwise.
Look at him. Look at him.
He's trying to figure it
Not
out.
sure what we're looking at visually there, Ross. But
It's Ross. It's Ross pretending.
If you turn the
that
other
he
way,
did
it
proper
changes
analysis and then
directions.
shaking his head. That's what we're looking
I'm
at.
trying to listen. I'm trying to understand.
you'd
what
have to
you're
get
saying.
behind
You know
the
what I mean?
fan,
Like I said,
which
the laws
isn't
of
possible.
perspective,
Exactly.
you
Because
look
it's
at
a
things from
ceiling
different
fan.
Perspective, right? If I'm looking this way, the fan is moving like that.
No, the question
that's
is,
the way
does
it's
it
moving. I'm looking this
look
way,
like
the fan is moving
does it look
that.
like it's
looks
rotating
moving
the other
way.
direction if you
So
like
is your
turn
is
around?
your claim that everybody
Or
in the
look at it from
southern
another
hemisphere is
direction?
facing south all the time,
no,
and everybody in the
He,
northern
he's got, but he, like you see him, he
facing
knows
north
we're
all the
talking
time?
about a
Is that your
ceiling
My
claim?
fan.
answer to it was my answer to it. Like I said, I'm like,
Yeah.
the stars is not my area of expertise, and so I defer to people that know what they're talking about. But again, right, all these things are laid in by the laws of perspective. And if we're talking about models, this model is a flat Earth perspective in general. We look up the stars do what they do. So now we're trying to figure out why the stars do what they do. Nobody has an
No,
answer. We don't have an
That's
answer.
not that. That's a model has to be able to predict and explain the observed characteristics of the system. If it doesn't do that, if you can't predict what the stars are doing, then
Yeah, the one
you
question
don't
got a
have
whole lot
model.
out of him.
Science is all about
Hell yeah, dude. It's a good
determining
question.
whether or not a given model is accurate. Your inability to predict stuff, your inability to quantitate.
You're really getting your money's worth.
The stellar motion
Right.
is actually a lot.
I
Yeah,
had to, I had $2 for that super
Don't
chat,
have a
and then I
model,
did
and
pay
you
another
failed.
$2 just to tell Tony
Oh.
thank
And
you.
failed.
Last word for
Failed
Ross.
to explain stellar motion.
Last words for Ross for this one.
Listen, yeah, like I said, it's not my area of expertise. I don't get into the stars that much, and I'm not an astronomer. I like to focus on what we can confirm. All right, that's not science up there. All right, it's not falsifiable. We
Those are all
can't
speaking into a
confirm it.
mic,
So
but it
that's-
sounds like he's from across the room.
No, like dude, if you haven't watched this one, you gotta watch it because like even that was a whole discussion. Like they're like, are you using your headphones mic or
Next
that
one
mic? He's
coming
like,
in.
oh, I'm using
This
this
is
one, and he's
Kane
like bagging like he's like, and the
Alright,
quality. He's
so
not
this says-
using the one right in front of
this
his
is from Kane
face.
Skeptic. Sorry, I had to turn up the mic a little bit there. Ross, you can't listen if your mouth is moving. Oh, they're getting spicy on you there, Ross. If you ask a question, be courteous enough to listen to the answer. Well,
Listen, I
that's
watched-
a little bit of.
But he refuses to debate me.
And, you know, I do want to let Tony and you also modern day debate. Thanks again for.
There, there's this one
undefeated in
last
this. Like,
song.
GG.
Bro just said
Come
undefeated. Like,
full
what the
circle.
fuck?
Yeah, right.
Hopefully, many haven't already hit the like.
In his head, he thinks he's right.
Well, of course he does.
Next one coming.
He
in.
will never
This is
accept
from
the answer that he is
Kane
wrong.
Skeptic. All right. So this says, this is from Kane Skeptic.
It's
So,
hilarious to me
Unde-
how often
Yeah.
these guys disprove their own argument and then continue to believe it.
Oh, dude, the Witsit debates are the hilarious ones. Let's see. What? How
I
about
love
this?
religious
I
debates.
was about to say, I'm like, let's like, is there a modern day debate, religious debate we haven't seen or enjoy, and we could put it up?
To be totally for real, I have no fucking clue who modern day debate is. I've never seen a video of theirs. I was invited to this Discord.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah, I think I invited you.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, today
I have
we're
a lot of
debating
hope
whether or
here.
not Christianity
Welcome, and
is
also
true, and we
we're
are starting
sorry.
right now. With
Ow.
Cliff's
Here we
opening
go.
I have to go
statement.
look at the name. I don't
Thank
remember
you,
the name of
James.
who
Thank you,
invited me.
man.
The question is Christianity?
It's better to
true?
forget.
This one's a great
I'm
one,
convinced
actually.
that
Like,
in order
because this
for a
Cliff
religion
guy's
or a
so
philosophy
far
to be
gone
worthy of
already.
our
It's like
belief,
this guy Cliff and
it
his
must
son
account
is like
for a
they come back
meaningful
alive.
Honestly,
Oh, the
yeah.
preacher. I know them.
I
Yeah.
morbidly
Jesus
watch
Christ
these. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
It's-
there's no
realities
progress
of life.
made. I'm
So
just watching
watch
nobody
it.
else.
So with
First of
Matt
all,
and all that stuff,
I'm
it's
confronted by
great
a
watching him
world,
get put
as
in his
you are,
place.
where we have a war in Ukraine and people are being murdered and killed.
So
I mean,
I
for
will.
people
And then
that
we have
believe him,
the
they're not
child
going to
sex
get much out
traffic
of this.
trade.
Like, they're not going to
And then
change
we have
their
very
mind.
good people doing a lot of very good things, and we have countries sacrificing for other countries. There's this
Debating about
amazing
skipping.
combination of the good and the wretched.
Consistency with the facts of
Jesus
Or maybe
Christ
check for
really
some
did die on a
timestamps.
cross.
Yeah, I'm
He
about to
was
say, this
buried
is
with,
where it goes
Joseph
up.
of
In the
Arimathea.
comments?
His
Yeah.
disciples dispersed in disillusionment. They were totally blown out of the water by his death. They were not expecting to see him again, but 3 days later, he first appears to some grief-torn women, and then over a period of 40 days, he appears to over 500 people who see him at different times, in different places, risen from the dead. The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 15 that Christ appeared risen from the dead to over 500 people. It's not-
Where are their stories?
Love when they use
Where
the
are their
Bible as
stories?
evidence.
And you can go out and talk to these people, Paul is saying. Some of them
Well,
are
it
dead, but
says
some
so
of them are
right in
alive.
there.
I can't talk to them, and we have no records of anyone ever talking to them or any of them ever getting a story from them. If God
Why
has
wouldn't
this
you believe it?
incredibly important message for humanity,
Yeah, it's
and
500
comes
people.
down
Just the
and
other day,
presents himself
500
in human
people
form
told
and
me that Santa
sacrifices
Claus
himself to
exists, so
himself
that's true.
and wants to preserve this narrative.
Yeah.
What
Right.
if God makes
And they
sure
had
that the Bible
pictures.
includes,
Yeah, they
eyewitness
He
accounts from
appeared.
those
He
events?
appeared to a crowd at the
We
mall.
do have eyewitness accounts. Matthew was an eyewitness.
The book of Matthew was
Hell
yeah,
not
dude,
written
he
by
must be
Matthew,
real.
nor was it written by an eyewitness.
Well,
but
he
I was
definitely is.
specifically
Again, I've
referring-
seen him.
but I
I've
was
touched him.
specific- But I was
Inappropriately.
specifically referring to the
Yeah, that's
500.
from
and they're-
Seven
I
from
left
Mars.
cookies out, and they're
Matthew
gone
wrote
now. So that's
Matthew.
another piece of
No, he
evidence.
Prove that, but
Yes,
there's evidence
yes, that or
supporting
rats,
that.
but-
You just go to
Okay.
Papias, you go to the early church
Most of
fathers,
your
Mostly,
parents.
yes.
and they wrote about
The plate
They're
was
dead. I don't
empty.
think that
Mark
works.
writing Mark, Luke writing Luke, and John writing John. It's very clear.
Honestly, the ghost of your
So,
parents might
here,
be
I have my
a
Bible
more
here.
believable
If I
answer
go
than Santa Claus.
to the book of
Why?
Matthew,
The Bible tells me Santa is
cover sheet.
We
real.
already
The
know how
ghosts
bad
don't
grieving
exist.
grieving
what's it
is.
going to say? The very first line.
So is anyone in here actually religious?
No. The
Why would you
religious
read
ones
them?
are all dead.
Sure.
They went to heaven.
You know, that's not something I. Yeah.
Although the
good for
first
them.
gospel is anonymous, the
Yeah,
early church
at least we
fathers
don't
were
have to
unanimous
put
in
up with
holding
them
that
anymore.
Matthew, one of
I'm
the 12
very
apostles, was
religious.
its author. So the
In
early
the
I
sense that
have
you
no
are
idea what
actually
it's
say
religious.
that it's Matthew, but the
Yes, in the
gospel
sense that I'm
itself-
actually religious. It just happens to be for gooning.
No, I see.
Alright, dude.
All right, I'll stop
There we go.
miming.
The gospel itself
That makes
is
that makes
anonymous.
as much sense as
Among
being
New Testament
religious.
scholars in Bible
Yeah,
colleges,
actually, no, it makes more
do they
sense.
hold that Matthew, the apostle,
Potato,
Wrote-
potato.
the book of Matthew?
Who is a more
Dude, who's
reliable
that-
source of information about who
Who's
wrote
that
a
guy who
book?
plays the
A
boss
person who
in The
lived 50 to
Office?
100 years after the writing?
Johnson.
Or a
Oh,
person who lived
Ben
2,000
Stiller?
Michael
years
Scott?
after the
No,
writing?
not Ben
Stiller.
Stiller.
Ben
This guy,
Stiller.
the person who lived
That dude in the
2,000 years
bottom
after
left,
the writing,
James
because
I don't know how to say his last name.
the
James looks like
individual,
a knockoff
50 to
Ben
100
Stiller.
years later, 100 to 200 years later.
I hope you know you
doesn't
said
have
you said a
information
slur
to the
there.
full expanse.
What,
of
knockoff
I?
is a slur
of
now?
what we've
Wait,
No,
discovered
he
about
said
the writings in order to
James.
compare them.
He said
Just
James
like
and his
the
last
early
name without the
historians
S.
who were not
Oh, James
contemporaries,
Cunt.
but were
The,
potentially
the,
talking
the,
about
the owner of
were writing
not this
about
place, the other
what
one.
they heard.
No, I think I
They
said
don't have the
like
investigative
Kunz,
ability
like
to do it. They
long.
don't
It's
have
Kunz.
the
I didn't hear
understanding
I didn't
of
hear
the
an S
writing.
there.
This is, I mean, nothing I'm
Dane
saying
Kunz.
here is
It might not have picked up.
remotely controversial.
You have
among
to
New
say
Testament
it very
scholars.
southern, and then it
Yeah,
works.
he's very controversial.
No, it's
Is it
controversial for
pronounced
people like you,
Kunz?
not for
Or is it
New
like-
Testament scholars.
Study Daniel
If-
Wallace.
I don't know
I
how
see you
it's
stretching out the
You
S
can
now
cite
just to
World War
make
II if you want to.
It's just
Yeah,
not
just to make sure it gets
pronounced. That's the way
picked up.
it is. Generally, it isn't pronounced.
In mathematics at Oxford
That's
University.
how we do it.
Read the
Don't say his name.
Read about
That
the
works.
first woman president
Seems to
of
work.
MIT.
Seems to work.
Okay.
Susan Hoffman.
James, that's all he
She's a
goes by.
follower
Yeah,
of
I was gonna
Christ.
say
She's
James
a
is
brilliant
enough said.
individual. So for you to minimize Christians as being a bunch of narrow-minded fundamentalists who can't study, that's really, really
Sir, sir,
incredibly
sir.
preachable.
Oh yeah, he's just
Sir,
making shit up
I
to make
did
him look
not.
bad at this point.
Yes, you did.
No, sir, I did not. That's a
Yes, you did.
blatant
Can you
lie.
turn the stream
I
up
did
for me?
not
I've got your
care.
stream at
If you're just
200%
gonna
and it's still
try and
not as loud
trash
as.
everything I say say, because I'm
Whose?
pointing out
I need
what
it
New
to be-
Testament
The only
scholars
person
say,
who's
and that you don't agree
I'm
with
streaming
that.
as well.
If you're going to try and
You don't
you
count,
shut up.
okay?
Yeah, well, I'm not a
Yeah, you don't
person,
count.
which is why I'm inquiring.
You say the stream volume
Ah,
up.
Yes, please, if you could. If it's already as
You
loud
can
as it can
go
go,
into-
I'll find another method.
You can open his
I'm just
sharing
kinda-
screen, and you can
I'm
open
a
the
little hard of
slide.
hearing.
and there's a slide called stream volume that you can slide to the right and hear better.
I did. It's all the way at 200%.
You're at 200 and still
Oh,
quiet, is what
Take
you're
it
saying,
back
right?
now, y'all.
Well, if there's no other way for you to turn it up, then don't pause it just for me. I'll find another way.
Oh no, maybe there is. I'm just probably not aware because it's all the way up on the YouTube side.
Alright, yeah, I'll find another method. I'll just turn my headset up, volume up and turn people's volumes down.
Yeah. Thank you for making it work.
Mm-hmm.
One
I just
second.
couldn't see if
Hold
the
on one
volume was all
second. If
the way
you're
up.
going to try and characterize that as me
we lost
painting
Cannibal.
Christians as credulous rubes, that is dishonest and not true. I have fought against that repeatedly, and you of all people should know that.
Why did you quote the Twitter message that you got? Why did you quote
Because-
that, Matt? If you're such an open-minded, thinking human being, why did you quote that very, very questionable Twitter?
Because,
be honest.
you want me to answer
Oh.
it, or are you going to ask me 4 times? Because that happened this week. It is someone making claims about Christianity. It is someone who participates in this chat. And I specifically said that you may not agree with it. But what you have to acknowledge is that Christianity at the individual level is made up of a bunch of different claims with that you guys don't all agree on. That has nothing to do with who's credulous, who's a buffoon, who's confused. I have no.
Christians disagree on a lot of things. So what on earth does that have to do with Jesus Christ? Nothing. Muslims disagree. That has nothing to do with Muhammad. They're Shiites and Sunnis. Tells you nothing about Muhammad. Sure, there are disagreements among Christians. Sure, there are disagreements among Muslims. Sure, there are disagreements among atheists. Tells you nothing about truth and reality. Tells you that there are people who disagree. So what? What's your point?
The point is the fact that people disagree about foundational things within
Guy
Christianity.
Cliff, he literally
we
is just
need
here
to
to
get
argue.
to a definition of what is true and what isn't true, because 2 different Christians will tell you 2 different things and say that they're true.
He's that kind of guy where
And they
he
will
feels like
disagree
he's
on
better
those
shots
things.
on a college campus.
If we're going to say
But
Christianity is true,
there are such easy shoot downs
why
that people just
are
don't bring him up.
those
So he's got all this like
things different? I
inappropriate
didn't bring this
self-confidence.
And I repeatedly pointed it out. First of all, I find it ridiculous and amusing, and I figured that you would very easily say, no, I don't buy into the notion that there's 5 generals of hell and 2 of them are responsible for lesbian sex. But what criteria are you going to use to determine the truth of what you call Christianity that would exclude what she thinks it is?
That Twitter that you used was a sad commentary on the
Oh, so he's not
stuff
gonna
that you like to
answer.
dabble
Okay.
in, Matt. That's scary. That is really scary. You know very well that they're not 5 generals in hell. You've read the Bible. So what on
He's
earth?
not even listening. He already
Why would
like
you
hedged
stoop
that
to
bet
that,
by
Matt, and
saying,
try and
I would have
use
thought
that
this
as a
was an
point?
easy
And
thing
it's
for you to
ridiculous.
like say you don't agree.
So now you're saying that this tweet is about something that I dabble in. I had nothing to do with this.
You read it. And
Yes.
you put it forth in our debate. You're using it. And it's embarrassing, Matt. Totally embarrassing.
It doesn't
he
embarrass
doesn't wanna
me.
answer the
The
question.
reason you're embarrassed is because
Question's
I
gone.
just asked you for what criteria would exclude that, and you have none.
Oh,
Because
come
you
on. Nowhere in the
trust
Bible.
the
I just told
reliability
you.
of the
Nowhere in the
Bible.
Bible does it say there are 5 generals in hell.
It doesn't say there's not, does it?
What? You got to
I'm
be
just-
kidding. It talks about hell. but
You
it
don't
does not give a
have.
photograph.
You don't have. What is your
Five generals.
methodology? What is your methodology that excludes that?
Very simple. Whenever I read any book, to interpret accurately means to read in context and to respect
up?
literary style. And by reading in context and by respecting literary style,
We're banging our
there's no
heads
way that you
against
can
the
come
wall
away
by
from reading the New
watching
Testament
fucking
saying the
Cliff
New Testament teaches
debate,
there are 5
Matt
generals in hell.
Delancey.
Okay.
Preposterous. And that you can stoop to that level, Matt, is a sad
Stoop to what level? I'm really confused here, Cliff. I've asked for methodology. I've asked for
My example of an
methodology,
atheist
and
is
you
not
keep
supposed to
accusing
solve
me
it.
of
My
stooping. If
example
you're
of an
just going to be a
atheist is not-
jackass,
Hold on, just to be
I will
sure that
continue
we-
to
just to
talk
be sure
over
that
you
we're not
every
interrupting
time
each
you
other.
try to slander me because you won't defend your beliefs.
Oh, I'm defending him all the time, Matt.
No, you're not. You're asserting them. You're
No, I'm not.
preaching. You
I'm
haven't
giving you
provided a
evidence and more
single bit of
evidence and more
evidence or methodology, and all you've done every time I raise an issue is say that I'm stooping or I'm dabbling or I'm misrepresenting Christians as stupid. I'm sorry that you don't have a robust methodology that would shine and show the truth of Christianity while demonstrating that Islam is not true, but you don't. If you did, you would have presented it.
I already have
Welcome,
presented it to you. The resurrection of Christ
Is not a fact.
overwhelming evidence. Now, who's interrupting who, Matt? The
I'm
evidence
interrupting
of the
you.
resurrection of Jesus Christ is overwhelming evidence that Christ is reliable.
Shit show.
The evidence of a sinless life that he lived. He could look his enemies in the face in John chapter 8 and say, which one of you can prove me guilty of sin? And his enemies were silent. The Apostle John, who knew him intimately for 3 years, could write, in him is no sin. When you read the Sermon on the Mount, those are the teachings of an ethical genius. Jesus was an ethical genius.
Jesus was an ethical
How he
genius.
died on a cross, loving and forgiving his enemies. You're confronted by a guy who taught an amazingly high ethical standard and lived up to that standard. The evidence for Christ is so robust, it's embarrassing. There is no one who comes even close to Christ in credibility, in trustworthiness. And you know it, if you think about it.
No,
With
sir,
a-
I don't. And you can stop claiming what I know because that's also dishonest. What I find.
If you'll, with an open mind, look at it, you know.
Okay,
no one who comes
so
close to
now
Christ
your
picks up
explanation is that I'm just not doing it with an open mind. Will you ever stop addressing me and what you think of me and actually present evidence for a resurrection?
Fine. The evidence for the resurrection is he really died. And a Roman soldier took a spear and jammed it in the
How
side
you know
of
that?
Christ, and an issue of watery serum flowed out separated from the side of Christ. We read in the Gospel of John. He was dead. They took his body off the cross. They anointed it with perfume, wrapped it in burial cloth, and laid it in the tomb, not a secret hideout tomb, a very well-known tomb, the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. His disciples dispersed in disillusionment. There was no Passover plot. And 3 days later, he appeared risen from the dead to a group of women. And then over a period of 40 days, he appeared to over 500 people. And those people, many of whom were willing to die for what they claimed to have seen. The dead Christ.
The
risen
500?
from the dead. And for the past 2,000 years, people have claimed to have met this Jesus Christ and that he has changed their lives. Preeminent among them would be the Saul of Tarsus, who met Christ on the road to Damascus and had an incredible conversion experience and followed Christ. So there's overwhelming evidence that Christ was dead historically, and historically he rose from the dead.
Is any of that
Bible
overwhelming
is not
evidence that you
evidence.
think you just cited not from the Bible?
The
Yes,
Bible is the
I
claim.
listed already. See, you're not listening. I listed
no-
the names.
no,
I
sir.
started with Clement, Bishop of Antioch, Ignatius.
None of those people are attesting to the truth of anything that you just said. Those people are attesting to the fact that people believed those things
No,
and
they
made those claims.
Eyewitnesses.
No, sir. Those individuals are not themselves eyewitnesses.
That's correct, but they talked to the eyewitnesses.
You have no way of demonstrating that. But hang on. Let's go ahead and assume that Matthew was an eyewitness. How do we know that Matthew is an accurate reporter of the facts that he supposedly witnessed?
First of all, you explore his document that he wrote
Because his name was
carefully,
the same as Matt
checking
Dillahunty.
such things as Greek manuscripts, checking such things as internal consistency, checking such things as archaeological support of the place names listed in the document.
Of the
Then
place
hello.
names.
secondly, you go to
Hey
other
there.
documents.
Archaeological
hate
evidence of the
yourself?
place names is corroborating
Yes, all the
evidence.
time. Next
Yes.
Okay,
question.
then you'll enjoy
So-
this
so
debate.
is the existence
Beautiful.
of New York
What's it
corroborating
about?
evidence for Spider-Man?
It's
Religion.
But it is corroborating
what's his
evidence
last name?
that I was born in New York City in
Cliff,
1954.
whatever
No,
the
it's
fuck,
actually not.
debating Matt
The,
Dillahunty on
the
religion.
existence of New York is not
Oh,
corroborating evidence that you were
why?
born there. It's just like the existence of New York is not corroborating
Because they
evidence
hate
that
each
I
other?
was born there.
It supports
do
the
they?
claim that I make that I was born in Columbia.
the way
It
they talk
pretty
to
much
each other,
looks
yeah.
like it.
City. The fact
And
that
they
New York
just-
City is
I feel like these
Existence of
fuckers
the
are
hospital
fighting
does
if
not
they're put in the
corroborate
same
the
room.
claim that you were born there.
Statement that I
I
was
mean,
born
yeah,
in
one
New
of
York
them
City.
keeps
If there was
calling
no
the
New
other a
York City,
liar
then
instead
you'd
of
have good
like
reason to
responding.
question.
Correct, but you are committing a particular
Yeah.
fallacy
Nah.
where you are reversing something. The fact that
I don't care.
if there
Keeps
was
trying
not
to use the
a
Bible as
Presbyterian
the
hospital in New York
evidence
City,
when
then
it
your
is
claim
in
that you were
fact
born
the
there
claim.
would clearly not be the case. But the existence of that hospital does not in any way demonstrate that you were born there.
I'm
Just
glad
the
Matt
existence of Mars
Dillahunty,
doesn't
like,
demonstrate that I
took
was
his
born on
time
Mars
to
if I were to
MVP.
claim that.
If you claim that you were born on Mars,
I don't
the
much
first
enjoy
question I
Matt
would ask
Dillahunty's
is
style.
Mars real? The second
Doug
question
Russell.
I would ask
I don't
Yeah,
is,
no, they're
enjoy
both
this, but
incredibly
I like
disruptive
doing
to
this
each
time.
other.
back.
No, I don't even know like between each
The
other.
beginning point
Mostly
is,
to
is Mars
the
real?
production
So,
of
Is
good
Bethlehem,
content, I
Nazareth,
suppose.
Jerusalem, Rome, real?
Matt Dillahunty is
or are
not
they
a great
fictitious
entertainer that
places?
I've seen when he does discussion.
He
might
be in other
cases,
but-
real places, and as far as
He
I
doesn't
know,
really
they
doesn't
entertaining,
weave
though,
a good
because it's
discussion.
heated.
with the time of the story.
I
It's
don't
not a
get
good
entertained
debate.
by that.
So then you keep
Yeah.
on going and ask,
I'm
Get more
often not
specific.
entertained
Okay,
by
what is the
heated
evidence
discussion.
that what this eyewitness wrote
Yeah, I don't know.
back in
It
the
can
first
be
century
entertaining.
has been carefully
Yeah, but
preserved
it
today.
doesn't do it
thing
for
for
me.
me is
whether or not
the
what
thing
they
for
wrote
me
in the
is
first
it's
century
not
has
about
been
whether it's
carefully
true or
preserved
not.
is irrelevant
It's about
to
whether or
what
not
they
the
wrote is
conversation is
accurate.
like making progress, whether or not
I
people are
first need to
responding to
know,
what
do
they
I
have to
have what
say
they
and
wrote?
make actual
If
progress
it's
in the
been totally
conversation.
perverted
You
and
could
changed,
honestly, if
that
you're debating with me,
affects
you could
the
bring up
issue very
slurs. I don't care,
profoundly.
as
Considering
long
we
as we're
have
making
no
progress.
original,
Yes, bring up slurs, shoot people, doesn't matter. Set the kid
I
on
mean,
fire.
I don't know about the shooting people
Anything
and the
works.
kid thing might be a line for me actually.
You sure? Well,
Let's
wait,
try
we
and
found
be
yours.
constructive.
Hey, I'm about to back away
No, but
for
I'm-
like 5-10 minutes or so. Do you want me to keep this video playing or nah?
I mean, we don't mind.
I'll just keep that going.
I definitely don't.
you can't know
BRB.
how much it has changed. You can know
Burb.
that
Make
sure to
the
mute.
copies and intermixed. This is where the modern experts will know more than someone did in the 1st or 2nd century because they have more texts to compare to try to get back to determine what our oldest and best manuscripts are in comparison to what could have or likely was the original. But we don't know. But in any case, even if we were to assume that the version we have is almost identical or close enough to what it originally said, that in no way
Yeah,
demonstrates the
debates can be
truth of
pretty
those original
frustrating
claims.
if people don't even attempt to
I
be
need to know
constructive
regarding the
or
Quran, the
orderly
teachings of
in any
Buddha,
way.
the writings of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and
i.e. a
John.
lot of flat earth
Do we have
debates.
the manuscript evidence today
Yeah.
that gives us any degree of certainty that we really have what they wrote? Today,
Or that
the
guy
New
that I
Testament,
came in and you
Matthew,
guys
Mark,
were
Luke,
calling,
and John.
he was calling you guys
We have over
stupid.
5,000 Greek manuscripts or pieces of
remember.
manuscript dated from the
It was
2nd to the 10th
Cannibal,
century AD,
Vanish,
all
and
agreeing to an
the
infinitesimal
LA
degree.
Hearts. They
Before
were here.
We were having
Gutenberg's
a good time
printing
before
press,
it. by the
we
way.
have 25,000 manuscripts.
Before I
Early
came, I don't know,
manuscripts,
but that guy left soon,
handwritten
soon after I
manuscripts,
got here.
25,000. And the study of those manuscripts show that we have an amazingly accurate Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are in Latin Vulgate, in
Talking about the dude
Ethiopic,
who's arguing
Coptic,
about, like,
Armenian,
The,
as well as Greek. So the
leave your
evidence is we have a
daughter
very accurate
or your
presentation
child
of
with,
what
like,
Matthew,
either
Mark, Luke,
Hitler
and
or
John
Oh,
wrote.
yep.
Now
a
read
registered
up and ask
rapist.
yourself, does
Yeah,
the
that
evidence
guy.
of the way
That
he
guy. He
lived,
already
taught,
left.
died, and rose from the dead
Yeah.
point to Jesus being a
But
fraud?
yeah, no,
If
I
it
don't
That
think
does,
was
progress is
reject
going
it.
to be
hilarious.
made
Or
there.
does he
Do you think I have it? I have read
Yeah.
it. I have
I
read
was
it.
trying
I
so
have
hard
read
not
it.
to
I have-
laugh.
Being reliable.
I have read it.
Or at least
I think
not
you
laugh too
are
loud.
convinced that I've read it. I have not reached the same conclusion you did.
Well,
in
you don't. You
part
can't mute
because
your mic.
the number of manuscripts or copies that we have is a testament to
I
their
can, I just-
popularity and how strongly people believe.
I
It is not in any way a testament to how accurate
sometimes I
they
forget,
recorded
so
events.
I don't often
When
mute
they all
for
agree to an infinitesimal degree,
unless like
There
there's
you go.
someone in
serious
real life
evidence
is coming
that
in my room and
they
talking to me, you
are
know.
accurate.
Yeah.
No, sir, that is simply not true.
Well,
I
I mute when I'm eating, so you don't
no,
hear
I
a
can
lot
pull
of
every
slurping
Yes, it
copy.
is. Very
No,
flippant.
no, sir.
I move my mic away
No,
from my
sir,
mouth
it's
and
not. And
that's
if you'd
it.
let me finish instead of trying to fucking run over me
You
like
interrupted
that.
me most recently.
We don't
Matt.
mind
I don't have
a
noise
lot of
suppression.
scraping sounds.
No,
Just to be
sir,
sure
I
we
sat
don't
here
go off the-
quietly
I'm
while
not
you
gonna
went
give
on
that
your
away for
spiel.
free,
I
okay?
can
You
take
have to
every
subscribe
copy
to
of
my
Harry Potter
OnlyFans.
and they will agree to an
Well.
infinitesimal degree. Does that mean that what they say is true?
No, but it means you
That's
have
my
an accurate
point.
copy of Harry
That's
Potter.
my point. And your argument is the fact that we have many manuscripts that agree to an infinitesimal degree, which is not quite true, but they do
Yes, it
agree
is.
strongly.
Yes, it is.
That
Very
your argument that you just made was that this is strong evidence that what they say is true. And that is simply fallacious,
That
as
is- you
demonstrated by your
misunderstood me.
own
I'm
response
sorry,
just a moment
miscommunicated.
ago. I can't hear you.
My
I
pure
can't hear
point
you if I'm
was-
still
Okay,
talking.
not a lot
Hold
is
on one
happening.
sec, just to be
Too
sure.
much agreement.
Just to be sure that
Not
I
a
think
lot's
it is
going to be happening.
probably there's maybe a bit of a
well.
delay. Just
The
to
night
be
is
sure we
young.
heard the last part from you, Matt, and then we'll kick it right over to you, Cliff, because like I said, I do think there's a connection thing where it is a little bit slow.
I kind of want to ask
Is,
another
what was the last
question
thing you
like
maybe
that
like the
dude.
last half sentence or so that
Why
you
not?
mentioned there, Matt?
Cliff agreed. But
Okay,
no
but
matter
you
how
guys,
much
you guys know I'm
the
muting
Harry
on
Potter
this, so you
books
can't get mad.
agree, or how many copies there are,
What's
or
your
for how
least
long it's
favorite
published
race?
and maintains this, that does not in any
Oh.
way demonstrate the
Human.
truth of what's in those books.
Fair enough.
And yet he wants to, for Christianity, talk about the
No, isn't that
various
species? No,
manuscripts
it's
and
cheating.
how closely they agree.
Well, no, it's
and say
like,
that this is
obviously,
strong
you can-
evidence that
you
what
can
they
col-
say is
you can
true.
consider it
That is a
colloquially, you know,
fallacious line
the
of
human
reasoning
race.
by his
Okay,
own
let's say I'm
admission.
not talking
You don't get to
colloquially.
special plead that
Well,
they're
then
Or
I'll
making
actually, I
come
am
right
talking.
is
I am
somehow
talking colloquially,
reliable
but like
because
to
of
the
its,
meaning of Rust.
agreement on its copies, while saying that other books that agree on their copies aren't true.
My answer would be my
I'd say
own.
the Grand Prix.
Yeah, fair
Ready
enough.
for you, Cliff?
We're just
If
gonna
you're
keep
able
doing
to.
puns.
Yeah.
Whenever
Yeah,
I
we are.
read an historical book,
And also black people.
I have 4 tests
Also
that I
black
use to
people, fair
determine
enough.
historical reliability. The first test is literary style. Is it once upon a time?
Yeah,
in the
because
land of
they
Nod,
get to
Vincent
stay in the
Lincoln
sun
took
and
a
they
boat
don't get
ride?
burned.
Or is it at this
that's
time in
not
this place
fair.
with these people around?
Yeah,
Jesus
it's not. I
said
mean,
this,
obviously,
we
somebody
believe
has to
that.
pick the cotton, and
The
it's not going to
second
be
test
me.
is,
But
what is the
Don't we
manuscript
have machines
evidence?
to do that, or
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
you know.
manuscript evidence for the New
They're-
Testament is
you want to go back to the
overwhelmingly
good old
clear
days?
that we have an accurate presentation.
You know, I like it better
of
when
what
it's organically
Matthew, Mark,
picked.
Luke, and John wrote. Doesn't mean it's the truth, but we
Organically
have an
picked cotton
accurate
is crazy.
representation of what they wrote. Third test.
Yeah, if you owned any, you'd understand.
Verify the place names, the names of the
If I owned
rulers,
any
like
cotton
Pontius
farms?
Pilate, Herod Agrippa.
Well, no.
Yes,
I meant people.
archaeology.
I'm sorry, I meant
verifies
cotton.
The New Testament, like the
Oh,
Pool
like
of
both,
Siloam in the Gospel
maybe.
of John. And then fourth test
Yeah,
is:
cotton people.
are there contradictions
People
within the
streaming.
text
What's
that
up to the
point
two
to
guys that
massive
came in?
confusion on the
Yeah,
part of the
hello.
authors?
How many people do you want to
No,
own?
there are no contradictions in the Gospels. There's a tremendous internal harmony and
45.
consistency.
That's a good
That
solid
does not
amount.
mean the Bible's
It's gonna
the
take
word of
it's gonna
God.
take so
It
many
doesn't
camels
mean
for you to get there.
anything other than these Gospels
like
of
trading
Matthew,
them?
Mark, Luke, and John are historically reliable.
What?
Simply read
I
them
was
as
thinking it cost
history
me like a
and
$10
ask
like-
yourself.
I would
does
just
How
the
do you
historical
how do you
evidence
wait,
point to
how do you
Christ being
train
credible,
camels to
or does
be
it not?
people?
Trade
Okay.
camels for
So-
people.
Oh, trade. Oh, that
first of
makes
all,
way more sense.
What did
I'm
you think I
glad that we
said?
have
Train.
4 crisp
Oh, you can
criteria
also
by
train
which
people.
you're
People
going to
train without being
evaluate
slaves.
historical
Yeah, but I
facts.
was thinking, how do you train a
Um,
camel to be a people?
Whether or not
Oh,
something
you just give them throw a
fits
lot of
in a
books at their
historical
head.
text, I'm
Give
assuming
it
it's
give
just
it clothes
that it's
and have
old.
it stand at table. and,
It's something we can't go
you know.
back and investigate.
Or you know those
Time is
buttons
have
you
an
give
affair with
dogs?
your wife.
You know those
text
buttons you
about
give
a
dogs
period of
to like
time.
say different
So
words?
the first one you
Give a
look at
camel
is the
that.
literary style. Once upon
Oh,
a
that would be
time,
a great
those
idea.
sorts
The
of
camel
things.
is really
Superman
crushing.
style is. When I
don't
look
think
at the
camels
Bible,
think that much.
I
I don't know
I
if
don't
you've
know
ever
that they
seen one.
have.
They kind of
like many
they kind of
Christians,
just go
have
most
a
of the
difficult
time and spit
taking
and throw up and
Genesis
walk where
as a
you leave them.
literal
That was
text. It is
that was one
factually,
hell of an impression.
incompatible.
That was
Yeah,
very
that was. I felt like there was one in the room.
With what we know from the
There we
scientific
go. You
investigation
guys
of
got me.
order,
I may or may
it is
not want a camel.
absolutely storybook wise about.
Well, you're
May or may
like
not be
Sorry for the
one tenth
illusion.
of the way there to your first
serpent
person.
to lead someone astray and lead somebody else astray.
Damn, how many
I
camels
find
do
the
I need?
character of God
Like
to
about
be
10 per
comical,
person. Yeah.
throughout, at least throughout the.
And if you're going by old Islamic law, you're gonna need 100 because it's one camel per finger.
He puts them in the garden.
I think
he
10
kills
camels
them,
would
kicks them
be.
out of
I
the
think
garden.
10 camels
He
would be
then
more
has to
useful than a
confuse
guy.
everybody's languages and flood
10
the whole
camels are
earth
more
except
useful
for
than a guy,
handful of
but 10
people to
camels are
start
not
over
going to
again.
wash your
And then he has
clothes.
to select his chosen people from
Well,
various
you
peoples
say
have to
that.
start
You haven't
over
seen
again, and
my
then he takes a
camel.
big long vacation.
you know,
Ooh.
Cannibal-
Well,
Cannibal,
is this a call for you showing us your camel live on air?
Cannibal Heavyweight, you know,
I
I
can't
love
show
you.
you my
in the
camel,
literary
but I can
style
might
example.
be able to.
It does
Never mind.
the
No,
miraculous
So we
things,
get
the
some
things
camel
like,
action going.
raising
You
people
know,
from
like
the
for
dead,
Cannibal,
walking
I'm gonna
on
just
water,
say, like that's just a
turning
skill
water to
issue
wine,
in training.
of demons.
Just admit
Yeah,
you're
well,
bad at
to
training
be
camels.
completely clear, I only
These
take
things
baby
do read more
camels.
like a storybook. Doesn't mean they're
That's
not
your
true.
issue.
Oh, he's
They're
a
really
breeder.
Of course,
The second one is
Wow.
manuscript evidence that
They don't seem to survive the third year.
Could they do laundry?
is
You're the
irrelevant
deep
to
of
the
desert
truth.
animals.
We
I don't
can-
know.
I
All
could
those
just say
ones
that
I
with
got
100%
keep
accuracy
dying
on
at
what the author
4.
said, and that doesn't in any way tell us whether or not
At
it's
night,
true, which
or-
even you acknowledge when going
No,
to
no,
look
no.
at
At the age.
I know.
And
I
Not
know.
the hour.
You're like,
Of
does
them flying, you kill
archaeology
them
support
faster.
things?
We're
which,
still
like
talking
the
about
post
camels,
office?
right?
Well, first of all, I don't
Yeah,
find
for
it
sure.
remotely
God, I hope so.
surprising that books written in a
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
going
yeah,
back
yeah.
to
in
people
a
yet.
certain
For legal
area
purposes,
might
this is
reference
camel talk.
Real
Yeah,
places
so
and real events.
you know when you
we do that in our
You know what
fiction
feels good
all
like
the
in
time.
Sweden? If
And
I
most
like
other
sleep with a
stories
chick
that you
and she
might
just
not
accidentally has a
accept as
camel,
true
she can
from
just
other
kill that
religions
camel.
also support
That's
placement.
really good.
But there isn't
To be clear, you don't have to fuck the chick to kill the camel. You can kill the camel and then maybe fuck the chick.
No,
It's not a necessity.
no, I'm vegan.
The camel has to die, but
there isn't archaeological
the rest is isn't
good.
necessary.
Demons or
Well,
anything
the
like that.
vegan,
And the
like,
last one
depends on
is a-
what
is a- is a
reason you've
really
got for being a
intriguing
vegan.
one
'Cause
about contradiction.
depending on that, you might be fine with killing the animal, but not with consuming the meat.
About whether or not there are contradictions,
Well,
trying to reconcile the Easter
I
accounts.
would
of
only
salvation.
be
I haven't been able
some
to.
an
I haven't seen
ethical
anybody
vegan from a
successfully
sentientist
recount who was
perspective.
there when, what happened,
well.
when, and in what order.
Yeah, you can just eat the stupid
depending on
ones.
which of the gospels
No,
you go
only
to
if
for
I
that
need
particular
to.
narrative. There's a different order.
Well,
of
which
events
means
and
that
different
in this
people
sense, we're
involved
going
and
to
what
have
tends
you
happen
need
is that apologists say,
to.
yes,
We're going to
I
have you make.
I have a preference, but if I'm hungry enough, my preferences go out the window. If it moves, I'll
Yeah,
eat
if I'm hungry enough, I'll eat a
But it
kid.
tells the
I'll eat a
consistent
kid if
narrative,
I'm
and
hungry
therefore
enough.
there's no contradiction.
I'll eat a kid if I'm bored
But
enough.
here's a question: is it possible?
In fact,
for
what are you guys doing later?
to have no
I don't know.
contradictions? and
What if you have
still
like
be true?
you're so bored that you
That's
just
why I asked you
buy
to take all
somebody?
4 tests together. Now,
Have you ever been so bored you've met a kid?
No, please.
Didn't they
Or, I
give
don't
you a
know, lick the
restraining order for
telephone.
doing that?
It depends. The parents have to be
I
alive.
answered your question.
No,
Now,
sir, you didn't. You replied.
A
That's
restraining
why
order
I
is
had to look at all four.
technically just
Why
like
are you
a
so
social
upset, Cliff?
construct.
It's a simple
So
question.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
it
as
is.
just as much as being a child.
Is it possible?
You're gonna
for
ban me
there-
from going somewhere on this
Is it-
earth that's made for everybody?
I'm
No.
Yeah, you're going to
No.
prevent me
Is it
from
possible
biting your
for
kid
there to be no
again?
contradictions in the story still not be
Cringe.
true.
I have a right
Yes.
to do that. If your kid gets
Yeah,
in my
but
face, I'm gonna bite
Is
him.
it possible?
I am a
Your
huge fan of
it's not me
Is
that
it
did it.
possible
Your
there to
kid
be
went in my
manuscript
mouth.
evidence
That was.
that the authors
That
were
sounds
correct?
crazy. That sounds
Authors
actually
have been
insane.
reported,
Chat,
and yet
clip
their
that.
claims are still not true. You already said
Yeah,
that.
but didn't
Yes
my
to
kids
that
go
when
in
you were
your
there.
mouth
Is
yesterday?
it possible for
Chat,
archaeological
clip that
evidence
too.
to support place names? and
We
yet
we might
events
have a problem.
How many
That's
possible
called
beans do you
historical
think
fiction.
we've all
Sure.
expunged
Is it
together?
possible?
Style.
Oh, but
Is it
well,
possible
depending on the
that
amount of times you've swallowed a lot.
Come on, bud. Let's be honest.
I'm
that
trying to cover your 4 points, Cliff.
Hell
Are you
yeah.
so dense that you can't see that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Oh, no,
going
no,
through
let me
your
get
4
my
points
partner.
as a rebuttal to your position. It's
Are we talking
possible.
about
I won't
swallowing?
even ask the question.
Well,
Here we go.
right now we
It's
are.
possible
Aren't
for
we
you-
always?
No,
It's
no,
possible
I
for
was
there to
just
be
like,
contradictions
just
No, I
and the
never
story still not
do
true.
that.
It's possible that archaeological
never swallow?
archaeology could
No,
support
ever.
place
Obviously,
names
I'm a good
and
boy.
the story's still not
Yeah,
true.
you gargle.
It's
Clearly.
possible that the manuscripts could accurately reflect what the
And
author
then
said,
spit.
and the author's still not
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
It is
Depends all
possible
over whom.
that the literary style
No.
could
You
be
gargle, then
misunderstood
you blow bubbles.
story-wise
Yeah,
or
from the
accurate,
nose.
and the story is still not true. So the 4
Hell.
criteria that
Why?
you gave
It has
That's
to
crazy.
look. It has to
Relatable
come
stuff.
out of your
of the
lacrimary
historical
ducts.
text are incapable
That's
of
only
doing that
crazy if you
on
haven't
their own.
experienced
You have a
real
failed
passion.
methodology. That
Yeah,
is
it's
the
only
point.
crazy if the
Then give
dragon
me a
hasn't
better
come in your
one. How
mouth.
do you test the historical reliability of any document? What are the tests?
I don't need to give you a better one.
Fellas,
I'm not here
fellas,
defending
fellas.
historical
Yes,
claims.
yes.
Baloney. If you're
Let's
telling
rein this
my
back to
4
dog
points
talk
now,
and
which you have every right to do,
children
you
biting.
had better give me a more intellectually acceptable
No,
alternative.
sir.
What?
That's not the way. That's not
Oh,
the way
hungry I
any
am.
of this
What?
works.
Now
You
you're
presented a case. I
Now you're giving me
debunked it.
intellectual
Now
suicide.
you have to go back to the
You don't-
drawing
How often
board.
I
do
don't eat
and
my
form
nose,
your
or-
interrupt,
guys, just to be
because
sure,
Yeah.
you are
just
the
to be
one
sure that
who
everybody
just
can
got
hear.
The difference is I
exposed
don't eat
as
I wanna
sand.
just jump in really quick before. So, quick heads up, folks, that will go into the Q&A shortly.
I like that. I
By
appreciate
that I mean
that.
5 to 10 minutes tops.
Fellas,
Yeah,
fellas,
and
do
that,
wanna
that
let you
being
continue,
that
so
being
you might
menstrual
have
blood.
some final threads you want to draw together.
You
before
guys
we
do
go
the
into
like Red
Q&A.
Sea in English
Yeah,
as well.
when your
Like the
methodology
Red Sea
gets
joke.
debunked, it's not
They
up to
have
the
it, yeah.
opponent to
Yeah,
present
they
a
have a
methodology that
word
would
for
confirm
it.
the supernatural. I have no
I've only heard
methodology
in
that would
Swedish. I've never heard in
confirm the
English. I don't know
supernatural.
if it's.
Neither does anybody
My
else.
cat is about to
You
throw up.
presented
Crimson
your
Tide.
case for why you find these texts
Yes,
reliable.
Owned
I exposed where the
Velma
problem
or
is.
whatever.
You don't then get to
Old
say,
time.
well, have you got a better one?
Yeah,
Because
the
that
Michael
suggests
Jordan.
that you're willing to
Wrong.
stick with a flawed
Crimson
methodology
Tide is
until
Alabama,
somebody comes along with a better one.
the college.
It's not my job or
It's
anybody
not
else's job
Michael
to
Jordan.
fix the
That's
foundation
Count
of your
Dracula's
beliefs. That's your job.
thing.
Dracula's
To be a
piss.
skeptic is good. A skeptic is
Roll
someone
down.
who
Yes,
questions.
bliss.
But to be a cynic is horrendous. Because cynicism gets us
6,300.
nowhere.
That was just like
And Matt, you have just
I think
displayed
from
tremendous
yesterday to
cynicism.
today, we just gained
Because what you've
this year,
done
we
is
gained, like,
you've
50
said
members.
these are the problems problems with your
We've
methodology.
gained 50
and
new
I agree
disturbing
with you.
points.
There are problems to my methodology.
100%
But Matt,
fair. I
none
would
of us
agree with
has exhaustive knowledge in
That seems
any
to be the
area of
goal.
life.
Not
We as
agreeing
human
with
beings
me, I
cannot
mean,
prove
getting more
anything.
disturbing.
Instead, we as thinking human beings take the
It's not like
evidence
I'm
that
not
we have
helping.
and then make the most reasonable, the most plausible conclusions. So, my point was simply, the evidence is the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John give us accurate historical information. My point was not that they're perfect, My
So,
point was not that
Tusk,
there's
I've been
without
listening
error.
to a little
I
bit
never
of the
said that.
beatboxing, and
Instead, I gave
pretty good,
4
dude.
pieces of evidence
beatboxing.
that I use whenever trying to determine whether any
Actually.
document is historically accurate or not. Now, the mistake that you're making, sir,
Good,
is
man.
very clear. If
Wait,
I
sorry, my cat
say
threw up. What did you
that
say?
a interpretation that I
that's
have of the
It's kind of
Quran
on the subject, right?
is contradicted by science.
Yeah, and don't let us keep you. You have to go eat it
In
back
order to
up
be
now.
intellectually honest,
No,
I have to
no,
go
no, it
back
was
and
just a
study, is
small
my
one. I licked it
interpretation
up.
of the Quran
Nah, fair
correct?
enough.
Because if my
That is
interpretation of
what?
the Quran is
Even as a
incorrect,
joke, that's
then
just
it is intellectually
gross.
dishonest for me to
Really?
say
You
the
think
Quran
that's
contradicts
gross?
science.
Oh, you're not gonna
I'm not
find
a
it
big
funny
fan
here.
of that one.
Grizz, I got a question
And then
for
you
you.
say science
Grizz,
contradicts
Grizz,
my
have you ever ran
interpretation
the
of
gauntlet
creation
before?
and of a serpent in a garden.
The gauntlet.
But
I've
if your
done a
interpretation is
Have you
incorrect,
ever ran?
The gauntlet
you're
is
committing
shit
intellectual
here.
suicide
The
because
gauntlet
you are
is
showing
nothing.
that science contradicts a false
Tuss,
interpretation.
Tuss.
Well, so what?
Do you know
I agree
what the
with you.
real gauntlet
The
is?
question
Yeah,
is,
I know the
what
real
is an
gauntlet. The
accurate
gauntlet is
interpretation of
fucking. There's like
Genesis,
one
and
video
does
that's
science
like
contradict
actually
that
kind of
accurate
disgusting.
interpretation of
Dude,
Genesis?
it's
And my
there.
point is rather simple. There is absolutely
There
no
was,
science
dude,
in
that's
Genesis
got to
to
be the most
contradict.
insane
There's no
thing I've
biology,
heard.
no
Only one.
zoology,
You
no
just got
astronomy,
I
disgusted
think
by
no
him
science
I
making
think I
anywhere
have I
in
think I
that
still
basis.
have a live video.
That is
Well,
why
not
for
live, but
anybody to say,
a video I
"Oh, I can't
recorded
believe
years ago
Genesis
of an
because it
operating
contradicts
room where
science,"
the
is
surgeon botched
intellectually
the
dishonest,
surgery.
because there's no science in Genesis for modern science
Well,
or ancient science to contradict it.
you have
That's it.
to.
Okay.
Tuss, what
So,
one is the one that
in
is
Genesis,
disturbed?
when
I don't
it
even remember.
lists
I just
the
remember
order of
watching it all.
events that
Like,
God
so for real,
created,
there's like one of the
supposedly.
like gore ones, which is
Um,
like kind of fucked
Is
up.
that order
And then like
accurate
one
to
of the
order
first
that
one
things
with
were
the like
actually created?
arm wrestling is like
Augustine answers your question
mildly
back in the
fucked up.
400s.
I'm not
The rest of them
debating
was like kind of
Augustine.
easy.
He
Oh,
points
that one was
out,
the
I'm
easiest
using
one.
it
The
in
hardest one
illustration,
was when
Matt,
the
so
guy
listen hard.
drilled his dick.
Augustine
Dude.
points out
That
that
was
in light of
insane.
the fact
I
that the
might
sun
have
was
I might
not
have a
created till
better
the
one.
fourth day,
I've
what
been
on earth do the
there's
first
a
3
couple of people that I
days
know from
mean
Ukraine.
if you
They
don't have
were
a sun?
they were around
Augustine's
in and
point
around
was,
the hit
Genesis
areas
is
at the
not
beginning of the
seeking
war,
to answer the
and
question
I was
precisely
sent
how
a
long the
video
God
of
took to
a
create.
soldier
Then
I
propped
told
onto a
Augustine,
wall
I
with
give
his face on
accurate
fire,
interpretation of the text.
melting.
Okay. When you tell me to listen carefully, it'd be
Yeah,
really
I've
good
seen
if you
people
did
burn
too. I
before.
didn't ask anything
Yeah.
about how long it took. I asked
Ricky.
about the order that it took.
I don't feel comfortable talking about
The
like the
order,
weirdest.
the
Like
length
I started hanging out
are
on like
not
4chan when I was
precisely
like
given.
11.
Okay.
Oh, you're
So
welcome.
basically, you're saying that
Fuck
the
you.
order of events in
So like the
Genesis
shit
1
I saw there, like
not
I
only
already
does not match
saw
the order
that
of
shit.
events as we actually understand
So
it from
like
science,
I'm kind of
but doesn't
desensitized
match
as
the
fuck.
order of events that a God would
But
have,
like I
that
don't
God
know,
did create.
based
the
on what I'm
No, I'm not saying
seeing
that,
over
Matt.
there,
What
and
I
then I
am
see
saying
the
is
gauntlet,
Genesis
like
does
the
not
worst things on
answer
the
the
gauntlet
question.
are like
Genesis does
not the
not
worst
address the
things I've seen
scientific
at all.
question. There is
Like
no
not even
science
close.
in Genesis.
How does it get
Are we
worse
clear now,
than
Matt?
a guy taking
Well,
a
there are
drill
claims about
and
reality in
just
Genesis, are
shoving
there
it
not?
up his
Yes,
guns?
about God,
Okay,
about human
that is
beings,
Like
about
insane.
doing it
biology
on
of
his
human beings.
own.
About God
There are
creating?
absolutely
What could be
no
worse
To
than
be
that
fair,
is putting it
scientific
to a
He was
higher
doing it on
setting.
his own.
Just
He
think
was
about
doing it
your
on
work,
his own. That is
Genesis.
insane. Like,
Wouldn't it be
People
worse
thinking
than
they're
more
tense.
surprising than
People
horrifying.
thinking they're tense on the
Like that guy
corner
was able
of
to.
the promised land.
Yeah, like
You
the
honestly
things where
think
like
Moses
people
was
are
concerned
don't have
with
any
the question?
power over it.
Gosh,
Like the
what's
actual
the
like
scientific process that God
people
used to
get
create?
fucked
It was
up
the
based on
furthest
some
thing from
other
his
actions
mind.
where they have
They
no
were
control
scared
over
out
it
of
at
their
all. That's
wits
like the
about
real
going
fucked up
into the
shit.
promised land. So
This is a wonderful tap dance, but
science
the
is
this is a
incredible.
wonderful
Yeah, we're
tap
gonna
dance.
need a
But
kid
Genesis
with
Accurate
1,
interpretation.
no, sir, it's a
Okay.
wonderful tap dance because you're avoiding the question, you're
Let's
avoiding
chill
the
a
actual
bit.
events, and you're going off to talk
What?
about other things.
I'm just trying to
elsewhere.
get to
So my
seminary. If I
question
continue
is,
like
yes,
that,
you
they're
were.
gonna get
You
me
literally
eventually.
just did. Rewind. Everybody
I've
can
already
hear it.
seen you
You
muted
are not
once. Let's not
talking
do
about.
it again.
You are not talking about
One.
Genesis chapter 1, sir.
I've seen you
What?
muted
Asking you about
Once
Genesis chapter 1, and you're going off to talk about other
who do you
things in
think has
Genesis.
been muted
In
the
Genesis
most?
Look,
chapter 1,
I've said
order
so
of
many
events.
horrible and heinous
You're
things, and I've
saying
only been muted
that
like
order of
3
events
times
is
in
not
my
the way
old
that God
time in
is.
here,
No, I'm
and
not.
one of them
Okay.
was
Are you
very,
saying-
very.
Are you
Say it again,
saying?
then, Matt.
Was that the
Are
one
you
when I came
saying-
in?
In Genesis
Are you
chapter
saying-
I couldn't tell you that I remember.
Tell me what you
Oh my
said.
God, it's
I couldn't. I don't know that I
Why
could
is it-
tell you that I
let's-
remember
let's-
if it was or
This is
not. I don't know who
absolutely
was
frustrating.
present.
Well,
I know that
Are
somebody
you
that somebody
Listen
was
very well, Matt.
obviously,
Are you
but I don't know
saying-
who.
Are you
How would I
saying
remember
that the
that?
order of events
You like
is
told
correct?
American, but
No,
you didn't want to
I'm
tell me
saying
because
they don't-
American
you're
had
not-
already
you're
heard it.
not saying-
Oh, yeah, that might be it.
I
Yeah,
don't care what you care about.
There's
I'm
you can
saying
ask
you seem
Athena
to
for
be
that
saying
one.
that the- You seem to be
She's
saying
she's
you
in
seem
the
to be
know.
saying that the order of events
She's
is
not going to tell you, but she's
not
in.
correct. You're not saying that it's not correct. And hang on, let me finish. You're not
I'm
saying
done
that
with
it's not correct, and you're not
It's
saying that it
bad
is
enough
correct.
that people don't want to speak the joke.
I am saying, and I'll say it again for the umpteenth time, Genesis
just want
chapter
Athena
1
to have to
is
say
not
the joke.
giving us
Is that
a
what you're saying?
scientific description
No.
of
Well,
how
if you ask
God
enough,
created.
she might,
Genesis
but
chapter 1.
she's gonna feel bad about it.
I
So
haven't said anything remotely like that.
With Genesis
I
1.
haven't said
In
anything
some
remotely
what
like that.
process did God use?
yeah, it was
I didn't ask
amazing.
about a process.
It was
I
totally
didn't
worth
ask about
getting
any of
muted
that.
over.
The fact that you have dishonestly
Do
refused
you
to
have any
address
warnings?
your own contradiction.
I don't
here
actually.
is
I can
very
tell
telling.
you.
All
Do I
asked
need to
about
check? I don't
was
think I
the
need to
order of
check. I don't give a
events
shit.
and whether or not you were convinced that the order accurately reflected.
But I
the
also
order,
carry
not
the
the
vibe of
process,
somebody
not
that
how,
doesn't, so I might not have
the
any.
order that things happen or
Oh,
not.
by the way, I
And
didn't
you
see
would
Banner
very
typing.
You would not say
Order
that
is
it
Yeah, it's been
process.
here for
me,
like
order
16
is part of the
hours.
process.
Yeah, I have
I'm
an open
sorry
text
that
chat
order
because
is
I wasn't
process for
eating.
you, but that's
Oh,
not a
but-
process.
well,
I didn't
Ben,
ask how.
we feel less
I
special
asked
now.
about order. I don't know
Well,
why
then
this is
stop
so
eating.
difficult. I do know.
Yeah,
why.
give
I
us
do know
all of
why,
your
because
attention and
fundamentally,
yeah.
Agenda,
you
my
know
cats throw
that
up.
this
Leave
order
Give
it on
us
the
yours
floor.
now.
reality, and you have no
Well, yeah, you did just
explanation
eat.
for
You had your
why
chest throw up.
the Almighty God of the universe conveyed information
You have
about
to
an
give us your
order
mouth.
that does not
I made
match
some
the
pasta
facts of the
before.
universe.
Let me eat
And you
my
have
Also,
a
the
wrong
pasta. The pasta is
interpretation of
also
Genesis
ours
1,
now.
and you're using
No!
Thank
science
you.
My
to
fucking
contradict a
pasta. You
wrong
want vegan
Not
interpretation of
anymore.
Genesis 1.
Yes, I will.
That
It is mine
Yes.
now.
very
Thanks.
sad.
You're a
man.
vegan
You know, it's
cannibal?
sad that you accuse me of
No, I'm
having
just
a wrong
hungry.
interpretation when I'm the only one that's willing to read it and talk about what it
Yeah,
actually
there's
says.
like
I've read all
homemade
the
This
pasta
pasta
Genesis.
does
all
not
the time.
consume meat
You are the
products.
sad one to suggest that this is a problem of my interpretation when I'm literally
Vegan is no
asking
egg. There's
you
egg in a lot of pasta.
Oh,
for
sorry.
your
This
view.
pasta
I
consumes no
told
egg.
you.
This is the best tap
That's
dance
not even
ever,
the
Cliff.
question.
Good
Genesis
job.
1 does not
Are
answer the
these?
question.
Is this
That's
pasta
fucking
allergic?
Clean up
depends.
language, Matt.
Is-
It's not
is
I
it?
don't
Good
need to
opportunity.
clean up
Have
your
you checked?
language at all,
Cannibal,
sir.
are you
You
allergic?
need to clean up your thinking.
Yeah, probably.
No, you need to
Because
straighten
you
out your
seem to be
thinking and think more
consuming these
logically.
nuts.
This
You fantasy
But,
puts into illogic.
Not yet.
This
But
might be a
we
good
can
opportunity
fix
to go into
that.
the Q&A. We do have a lot of
Yo,
questions. We're gonna
Cannibal,
move
are
through
you
this fast. Couple
aware of the
things,
people
housekeeping-wise,
that just
folks.
continually
First,
harass
Washington, Our
Amender?
guests are linked in the description. If
To be
you'd like
clear,
hear
no,
more,
but
please click
it
on
is
their links,
unsurprising
even
to
if
me.
you disagree.
Yeah,
there's a
it's
lot
also-
of value
it's also
in fully
unsurprising to me, too.
understanding a person's position,
Yeah,
even though you
it's
don't
also
agree.
who are
surprising,
they?
but
Not
I
only
don't
that,
fuck
but
with
I want to
that.
say that's in the
Like
podcast
Amender
description
is
box as well.
sincerely
We put our
an
guest
honest
links. If you
interlocutor.
didn't know,
Yeah,
Why
Amander's
Debate does have a
fine.
podcast.
He's
You can
annoying,
find us on
but
Spotify,
he's-
Apple
That doesn't
Podcasts,
make it. Yeah,
you
but
name it,
being
any
annoying
podcast
doesn't
app,
make him
You
wrong.
can find these
Yep,
debates,
so-
100%.
put them on the
He should be treated with
100%
respect.
ad-free,
He always
Yeah, and then
unbelievable,
shot.
within
But
24
mostly with
hours
respect.
of
Yeah, he should be
debate
shot.
being live.
He should be
So
killed
check out
humanely.
our
dirty
Yeah.
capitalist
the
pig as he
podcast
is,
without
but we
worrying
should
to
like
jump
at
into
least
these
leave a
questions. But also
flower on
wanna
his
say,
grave.
Yeah, he should be
Dude,
killed humanely.
capitalism,
if you haven't hit
capitalism
like,
is
we do appreciate that
in the
support
world
as
right
well.
now.
So feel free
the
to
best,
hit that like button. Thanks so much for all
the
your
best way to
support,
go about
folks. And
Yes.
Bacon
Capitalism is a
Stokes.
necessary step to go away from capitalism.
How can you possibly
Capitalism is
disagree?
the best
Oh, fellas.
form of capitalism there is.
Capitalism is the best
I love me
capitalist
some
system
good old
ever.
communism, man.
Yeah, there's no way you think socialism or communism is better.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. We
That's totally binary.
structure our society instead of capitalism in the same way that insects would. We have